big welcome for two teams of great history. Both these sides have obviously known greater days, but they've both won the Challenge Cup. They've both won the Premiership, the old First Division. And this is the big day for the very futures of Widnes and of Oldham. And the official presentation party will arrive in a moment to be presented to the 17 players who are on duty today for each of these two sides. Both of them coached by vastly experienced men in Neil Kelly and in Mike Ford. And let's also say that it's a scorcher of a day. Here is the worshipful, the Mayor of Rochdale, Councillor Mrs Irene Davidson. There is Chris Hamilton, the chairman, the most nervous chairman of all, because he's the chairman of Oldham today. And there, the Gibbons twins, the twin brothers of the Oldham side, started their careers with Leeds, then moved on to Bramley, but today they represent the Oldham Ruffians. Sir Rodney Walker, the chairman of the Rugby Football League, moves across with Steve Russell, the chairman of Northern Ford Dealers, to the Widnes side, and the chairman of the Widnes Club, Tony Chambers. Neil Kelly in his third successive final. What a maestro he has been for them. And as we move across the line of Widnes players, Craig Weston, the Australian centre. There are two Australians in this Widnes lineup. Dimitri is the other one, but one qualifies as an Englishman. Richard Agar there, who scored a drop goal in last year's final. And Simon Knox, once a Super League player with Bradford Northerners, who we were before they became the Bulls. Joe Pomalo, who'll be one of the substitutes for the Widnes Vikings today. And Ian Millwood, what thoughts go through a player's mind at a moment like this?
A lot of anticipation, and you know, the time has come. It's been a big build-up, and it's been a long week for him. So very nervous bodies at the moment, and the problem there with that is how you control it. And if mechanisms haven't been put in place, it can be a problem.
But in a few moments' time, it is down to the action of the day. A vibrant atmosphere as well here at the home of the Rochdale Hornets Rugby League Club, and of course the Rochdale Football Club as well. So Scotland hasn't known many more famous days, but now we all pause for the national anthem. Tremendous ovation, a tremendous reception here from real rugby league fans. But how are the two teams lining up? Let's look at Widnes first. Neil Kelly sticks by the 13 who performed so admirably to put an end to Lee's aspirations. He sees Richard Agar as a key figure at stand-off, and another who figured in last year's final win for Dewsbury. Sean Richardson will surely make surging runs from the second row. But perhaps the most influential forwards are the record try-scorer Phil Cantillon and that really creative loose forward Tommy Hodgkinson. The principal decision Mike Ford had to make was about Mike Ford, and he's kept himself on the bench. To start with anyway, that means Dave Gibbons is promoted to the starting lineup, Neil Roden switching from standoff to scrum half. Keith Brennan has been a revelation in recent weeks and continues to keep out John Huff at number 9. Well, there is Mike Ford's name among the substitutes, and whatever happens today, this is his last match as a player after a distinguished career. And on the Widnes bench, Matthew Long at number 17, a try-scorer for Dewsbury in last year's final just 12 months ago. The pitch looks in excellent conditions. Congratulations to Craig Wooding, the groundsman. And a nice touch, Widnes were led out today by a young boy called Stephen Henshaw, their mascot, and a week ago his mother and father couldn't take him to Lee, so he cycled it. It took him 2 hours, and 2 hours back as well, and in honour of that they made him the mascot today. Today's referee, vastly experienced, Steve Ganson. He was here a week ago for the Rochdale Oldham game. Let's hope this one, Ian, is exhilarating as that.
Oh, tremendous atmosphere at the moment. It's a real grand final. The atmosphere's there. The players are pumped up. Significantly from the kick-off, they've won the toss, Widnes.
The high kick taken by the fullback Aitchison, formerly with St Helens, and a man who won a Super League medal.
Yeah, he's been a vital player for Saints here for a few years, and he'll be vital today.
Vital not to make mistakes in these early moments, not to lose the ball when you've got possession, as it is now with Knox. Cantillon at acting half-back. And there's the first kick from Agar. It's long. Oh, he's a superb kicker, and this is going to put pressure back on that Oldham line. Now it's picked up by Mark Simpson, who runs it out beyond his own line. And it's the Widnes fans who applaud that. The tackle made straight away by Steve G. Widnes the more prolific scoring of the two teams, but Oldham have a fine defensive record.
Now, the one I mentioned about the kick-off winning the toss, Widnes, I think it was important because the sun is in Joey Hayes' eyes, and I think that's why they've won the toss, and they'll put the ball up to Joey Hayes, and that could be a telling factor with some of those high balls.
The big props are key figures in these early moments as well. They've got to make inroads. That was a nasty bounce in front of Percival, but he did the sensible thing. He struck his body, he then picked it up, and good possession. Good decision made by Percival there.
It was a good start by both teams. They both kicked out their sets of 6 and got a kicking game in. It's vital that you really set the platform early with a kicking game, and both teams have achieved that, both sets. Tommy
Hodgkinson, so influential. Rather fortuitous that. The ball bounced, but was picked up on the bounce by Munro, the right wing. Richardson was looking to get it, but up to halfway they go. Widnes had a great seam of form, unbeaten in their last 14 matches. And they're the ones looking to call the early shots. A week ago at lead, they fell behind, but they've got the first penalty of the match, awarded by referee Ganson there. Didn't allow the player to get up.
It was interesting there, John. Clegg was down injured there for quite a couple of minutes there, and then he's got back in the game, and through frustration he's come up with an error, which is probably going to cost them 2 points here, which is, from an experienced player, is not the way to set the example.
Yeah, Leo Casey, former Featherstone Rovers player, making the error. Irish international Casey as well, but then so many of these players are internationals nowadays, and Weston is going to take the opportunity of nosing Widnes in front.
Leo, come on now.
I think it's John, with Steve Ganson refereeing, a Super League referee, a very experienced referee. I think we're going to find a really good 10 metres here today, and I think it was very early there. There was a little bit of movement
for you boys.
On that last
Chris
run.
Percival, hands
they were
out
able
the face.
to shift the ball.
All
And,
right.
they didn't really get off their line, Oldham, did they?
All
you know
right.
what I mean? And no, you wouldn't want to get in that habit too long with Steve Ganson keeping a good 10.
An important moment for Weston, who was one of Neil Kelly's signings. He brought him from Doncaster, the Australian. He's kicked 49 goals this season, but number 50 would be very sweet indeed.
Craig's a very experienced player, played a lot in the NRL, has played Super League. He's always been a very talented player. They earmarked him as the face of rugby league at one stage in Australia, but he just didn't quite take that next level.
Weston with the right boot. Weston with the 2 points, and the arms were raised yards before the ball sailed across.
Yeah, it's a technique used by a St George Illawarra player where they raise the left arm, and it creates a lot of atmosphere on the terraces, that when they do it. But gee, this Widnes supporters are very pumped up. You know, they're creating a tremendous atmosphere here at the moment, and you know, it's really, you know, the stakes are very high here now because the winner with a Super League spot chance.
I don't think you can underestimate the role a crowd can play sometimes. A week ago at Leigh, the Widnes fans were very vocal. Their presence was so noticeable throughout the match, actually. They lifted their team.
Well, John, I can tell you in some of our biggest wins for St Helens, the crowd is the one who's lifted us when times we needed more concentration or more focus. And it's a vital ingredient, and crowds that can build players can actually create momentum for you.
Widnes 2, Oldham 0. Took the right decision there not to pass as well. There could have been an interception for Neil Roden. Here is Knox, who, he's lost the ball, and that's seen as a penalty. The ball knocked out of the grasp of Simon Knox.
Yeah, it was an error that could have went either way, but it's very noticeable early. Widnes are trying to attack their left-hand side, Oldham's right, targeting a couple of people on Oldham's right-hand side and going to their major playmaker, Craig Weston.
Well, that was a tough call.
Yeah, it's a tough call, that, isn't it? You know what I mean? Like, it'd go either way, and, you know, a scrum up there would have been vital for Oldham.
Here's Knox now, bursting forward there, and 3 men around him straight away. From Cantillon, he took it. Cantillon again, we know how dangerous he is close to the line. Taken on by Holgate, the former Workington Town prop. A number of Cumbrians. Hodgkinson now, ex-St Helens, ex-Bradford. Held in the arms of Casey legally that time, but Cantillon will surely farm it out again here now. Crompton in the action for the first time. Agar! Good scything runner, Richard Agar. And the Widnes fans are roaring their team towards that line, and Munro couldn't pick it up, but if he had done, it would have been miraculous.
Yeah, if the pass is on the mark, I think we may have seen a try. Yeah, Crompton goes to the line, he creates a bit of doubt. 2 defenders end up on the centre, Dimitri. Yeah, good pass, would have been a try.
So it's Oldham's head and ball. It's not often you see a scrum won against the head, but Widnes pressure intensifying. And there'll be an offside decision here, and that is relief to Oldham, who take it quickly. Oh, and didn't take it well at all. He's got away with that as Brennan, but that was a nervous moment.
Well, they would have been better settling down there, Oldham, kicking for touch and starting to build pressure themselves. But they look very jumpy at the moment. They've been much more controlled Widnes in the early period.
Yeah, Oldham need to get into it, and Mike Ford will be thinking about what stage to introduce himself. And there he is. Wily player, and he said to me yesterday that he had to time his introduction into the game absolutely spot on.
Yeah, I don't think he'd have a set routine when he's going to come in. He'll read the game from the bench and then decide when the best time, you know what I mean? But at the moment, you know, I think he'd probably be looking around the 20-minute mark, 25-minute mark, because at the moment they just need a little bit more control and kick out some sets of 6 here, Oldham.
He's been a tremendous servant to the game of rugby league football. 10 years ago, in fact, he played for Oldham against Widnes and scored a try in that match, in a cup final as well. Now there's a chance of a burst here, and it's taken well on by Dimitri towards the 20-metre line, and Agar, they've got a possibility here. There are plenty of players strung out to the left of Knox. Haven't seen any barging runs from Richardson yet, but he'll be at the shoulder here, and it went instead to Weston. They can't drag him over the line, so Etchison's up to help out. Crompton, oh, that was a total lack of cohesion.
Yeah, it's especially when they look very threatening there, Widnes. But the problem with Oldham a couple of times, players are rushing out of the line and they're not keeping up together, and it's caused some problems on the edges for them.
Amazing to think that last year's final was separated by 1 point in Dewsbury's favour. The previous season, Hunslet beat Dewsbury by a point, and the first year of the Northern Ford finals, Wakefield beat Featherstone by just 2 points. So 4 points separating 3 finals.
Well, it just goes to show, John, what you do now is only building for what's going to have to happen in the back end of the game.
Roden held, and he shoves his marker away. Now it will be hoisted, and this is a tricky one. Joey Hayes is somewhere near it. Percival can't hold it. Brennan's in, and Brennan, the lucky talisman, has done the job for Oldham in virtually their first raid. The referee is going to call for the video referee here to see whether the defence was impeded, I imagine, but it's Brennan who has scorched across the Widnes try line, and Oldham may be in front.
Well, I think it's going to be a try. I think it's good reasoning by Steve just to check with the video ref to make sure he hasn't been impeded. I think Munro's just gone up too early for the ball, and his timing's been just not there when the ball's supposed to arrive. They've had more people in the frame, Oldham, and they've been able to take advantage of it.
It was always going to be a tricky one. It was hoisted here by Gibbons. It's a high one, always uncomfortable for a defender. but well, he never really came to grips with that at all, did Chris Percival, and as a result, Keith Brennan looks as though he's picked up his 12th try for Oldham.
Yeah, I think you find there, John, it's just a nervous reaction there from Munro. He left the ground very early. The ball's drifted away from him, so the ball's too far away from him. Brennan's done very well there, hasn't he? You know, he's been very positive the way he's really charged through after the ball. And once again, they had more people in the frame, and it just goes to show just the little errors in the game can turn a game. So, you know, I think they need that Oldham just to steady themselves down a bit.
And here comes the confirmation. It is indeed a try, and Keith Brennan's 12th try in a matter of weeks. And he will certainly see this is a lucky ground because he was a scorer here 6 days ago.
Well, you also got to reward there Mike Ford. You know, Mike Ford's decided to start himself from the bench, and Brennan's in the starting team, and he may not have been there if Mike had started. So, you know, from a coaching point of view, it's first points there to Mike.
And your money would be on Pat Rich kicking this one, a man with 145 goals this season. And 9 out of 9 was his tally last weekend here on this ground, so he'll feel comfortable kicking here.
Well, he would, but, you know, grand final's a different environment. You know, the pressure and intensity intensifies. And, you know, and I know my player, Sean Long, and he's a tremendous kicker in final football. It's a different kick.
And you're dead right. He's pulled it across the face of goal, and a man who couldn't miss a week ago cannot hit today. He doesn't hit it, Rich.
Yeah, there's a couple of nervous reactions there at the moment, isn't it? You know, the good thing is they come through, Oldham, they contested. You know, Joey Hayes is there. Once again, timing poor. You know, more people in the frame. You can see more people in the frame as he puts the ball down, and that's something they don't want witness. You would have thought, John, that the kicks were going to go more to Hayes with that sun in there at the moment, wouldn't you?
Very much so. Little grubber this time. Dave Gibbons, who set up the try. Brought into the side today. What a good decision that was by Mike Ford to bring Gibbons in.
Well, they all sound good at the moment, John, but we'll see with the result. That'll determine whether there's been good or bad there.
Put down by Joey Hayes. And a knock on. So there will be a chance here for Widnes to apply a little bit of pressure. They will have the put in.
Yeah, this will be an interesting one to look at, John. Did he, in the first one, did he actually lose it, or was it a hand in there? And on the second one, he may have knocked it on, but you know, it's an interesting decision. Look, these are vital turning points in games. After a kick, you must complete.
Crompton. Richardson on the gallop. Not much of a gallop this time. It's Gibbons who holds him. So Crompton goes the other way now with Cantillon, and found a gap. And they just grabbed him by the throat, but he still manages to make good yardage, or meterage, whichever era you come from. Crompton slipping at Richardson, gets it back, kept it alive, and this will be Widnes' ball. It's back to 6 now because the ball was touched by an Oldham player, so Widnes can start again.
Yeah, he started 6 again, John.
And Crompton's coming more into the game, so is Richardson here. Richardson amazingly playing in his 4th consecutive final, 1 for Wakefield and 2 for Dewsbury. 1 now for Widnes. Every time Cantillon gets the ball, he has only one thing in mind, and that is, where is that try line? Agar. Still Agar, they've got to drag him down here. Still plenty of opportunities for Widnes in this move. G. Indecision, and the referee will say that that was knocked back. They've got a huge overlap on the right. The pass has got to be good. It is picked up. Dimitriou still going. Dimitriou, and now the whistle has gone. What a wasted opportunity.
It was, you know, I mean, and it's happened a few times here now with Widnes. They've had space on the edges, and their execution's been poor. I think on that point you made about Cantillon, I think Cantillon, he's a tremendous run on the ball, but he's not a real passer of the ball, is he? You know, he puts all of his eggs in one basket, doesn't he? If you just look at the replay here, through a little bit of an unload at the back, created a little bit of uneasiness in the Oldham defence. And the execution there, again, on the outside, if it was effective, could have caused real big problems.
Oldham have the lead, 4 points to 2, just the 1 try scored in the match so far. Hughes and ours again there, and was the ball up there? It was lost by Simpson. No, it wasn't. Casey now. Reversed by Gibbons. Well, they've obviously been listening to Mike Ford. There's some clever footballers, and here goes Roden now. A bit more composure about Oldham. Anthony Gibbons hauled down. Brennan, cross for Roden. included at scrum half now. And then they scored their try from a kick, not dissimilar, except it was into the corner. Again, they don't look comfortable under that ball, Widnes, but they've got away with it.
Well, they have there. Was he offside? One of Paul Atchison's great strengths is his ability in the air. So, you know, kicking to him is probably not going to be a good idea, I don't think.
So long since Oldham won anything, and the crowd now obeys Cantillon once more. That shimmying style of his takes play forward. The reverse ball. Agar's the recipient. He'll fling it out wide. The gaps are appearing once more. Taken on by Knox. Then by Hodgkinson. They look for that overlap down the right, and Hodgkinson is finally pinned down by Hanari. Holgate. Exemplary tackling. Cantillon will look for Crompton. Here he is, former Oldham player, of course. Agar, chip over the top. The dash is on. Here comes Percival up the outside. Drags his man behind the dead ball line. So it's all going Oldham's way in terms of the scoreline, but I'm sure Neil Kelly is confident his side can overcome this.
Yeah, it's a good kick by Agar. He's going to get double sets on him. Very astute kick. You know, Joey Hayes has done tremendous to get back. Also, I think Munro's done also very well to get there. Look, I think it's very noticeable very early. The team with a better kicking game at the moment is getting better field position, but mounting pressure.
Very calm, Neil Kelly, as a rule, but he's got a bit to say at the moment.
This is his third grand final in a row, so he should be used to it.
Just that the stakes are so high, Ian.
Yeah, there is, you know. I think one team needs to kick a little bit earlier, mount pressure through their kicking game.
There's a well-timed run by Holgate. It wasn't a forward pass, despite the protestations of the Oldham supporters. Crompton can be a key figure here. Reverse to Etchison coming up in the line. Widnes have had so much pressure around this area, but they've not yet made it count. Can Richardson do so? Hodgkinson creates the space. Knox will try and utilise it. It's going to the line. He's there. Fighting across. It's Steve G. And the referee will again call for the video referee's assistance. But Steve G looks to restore the lead for Widnes.
Well, gee, this is brought on by the Oldham defence again. The last three defenders are coming upstream. They're coming up on the defenders on the inside, and it's creating a lot of doubt. It is, and I don't know it's the way to go.
Here it is. Maybe a question whether he grounded it all right. Knox had made the early inroads. Right in front of the sticks here. Here comes Knox. Here comes G. 1, 2, 3. He's over the try line. Has he grounded it? Impossible to tell from there, to be honest.
His reaction was very positive. So, you know, once again, he's had to look back on the inside because the Oldham defence has come up in an umbrella shape. They then found them out by ball watching the ball a little bit too long. G lunges with two defenders on him. But he's getting the ball down. Yeah, it's a try. You can tell by the fans, they're happy.
Showed great upper body strength there, Steve G, to hold off three and plant the ball across the Oldham line for the first Widnes try of the day from number 11, Steve G.
Yeah, it's a try, John, and I think it was noticeable there again. A kick by Agar created that pressure. They were able to get another set of 6. And just at the 18-minute mark at the moment it is, a couple of Oldham players are struggling to get back into the line, and which is their line and their probably communication is probably causing them a few concerns defensively for Oldham.
Try number 7 of Steve G's season. They picked him up from Lancashire Lynx, would you believe? Weston with the kick. And it's curling away and not in. Here it is once more. Hodgkinson, who's such a good footballer. Knox making his contribution. And then G plunges for the line and he's over.
He had plenty to do, G, didn't he? He still had to brush one off and cart 2 over. Done very well there.
We're back in the thick of things. Steve G there has got Widnes' first try, and Oldham have brought on their first substitute. Casey's gone off. Legs come on. Well, the crowd really lifting the players here. It's a big day out for all of them. And they do love their rugby league in this part of the world.
Oh, it's tremendous, the atmosphere, but also it's tremendous. There's something high at stakes, and that's a Super League berth. And, you know, so the stakes are not only the win here, but the berth in the next level.
It was a good punt, that one, from Agar, but McNicholas has held on well. A player who's come strong at the close of the season, McNicholas. Wasn't in the team at the beginning. Simpson now is an elusive runner. Got a couple of hat-tricks this season, Mark Simpson, in his tally of 17, and they wouldn't let him up. So that will be a penalty Oldham.
Gee, be disappointed there, Neil Kelly. You know, I mean, a very good kick by Agar again. Great chase. They've got him where they wanted him. They're really mounting pressure. And then you can see Neil just sent the message out. You know, he's, geez, you know, I mean, like, don't undo your good hard work there with something undisciplined. So I think he'd be disappointed, and Agar would be disappointed because he's done all the good work and someone's unfolded it for him.
Good Australian expression there.
It's not northwest, John.
This is very much a northern occasion. The north of England. Oldham have only just had to cross the M62 to come to Rochdale. Widnes haven't come very far either from Merseyside, but they have spent the week over in Yorkshire across the Pennines in Brighouse. He's had a light training session yesterday. Here is Jason Clegg, the veteran. He has been around some years.
Yeah, they've replaced a veteran for a veteran.
Very much so. Hanari, first time he's had the ball in his hands going forward. He's one of your boys, isn't he, Brian Hanari?
Yeah, we released him a couple of months ago to Oldham, and he's done very well. Brian has.
Roden to Gibbons. Rich. Is there a gap to be found here? A chink in the armour, that's what they look for. Dave Gibbons. Roden. Little kick ahead, picks again, Roden, clever play, and it surely, can he squeeze in? No, he can't. Excellent defensive work by Widnes, and that will have pleased Neil Kelly. For a moment it looked like Pat Rich may be over.
Yeah, once again a kick nearly created some problems. Paul Atchison brings it out, a good run there, but gee, there was some desperation in the Widnes defence there. They've done very well.
Just past the halfway mark of the first half, and it's 6-4 Widnes, and Cantillo's on the charge. Look at him go! Tremendous run, he goes like a bullet. It's a wonderful break from Cantillon. Dimitri's on his way towards the line. Munro's back inside, just mows on. And it was Cantillon who made the initial inroads. Oldham are right on the back foot here. It's going right again. Dimitri may get in. Not for the moment. Well, I thought Cantillon for a moment might have gone all the way himself. He's got the energy. Agar, Richardson, not a good ball. It's G, flicks it back. Watts can't hold on, and the move will peter out now. Oldham have it, but that was desperate for Oldham fans.
Well, it was, but gee, you've got to give Oldham a rap. You know, that Cantillon did him for speed. He linked up with his centre Dimitri. He had Percival on the outside. They looked like they had him done for numbers, but they scrambled well, Oldham. They really put themselves in the frame there. They've done really well there to come back from that, which looked like a try.
It's white hot at the moment. Norton, typically nicknamed Knocker.
You know, I think this is a good time for Mike to come on, you know, I mean, just to sort of steady the ship a little bit, help a little bit in their kicking game.
There's a gap here, sorry to interrupt you, but making the break is Phil Farrell, brother of Great Britain's Andy, of course. Gibbons, they're asking questions of the Widnes defence once more here, with David Gibbons influential. I'll bring you back in a moment, Ian, about Mike Ford's appearance as substitute. But it's Roden. He too, well, he's lifted this one. Might go between the sticks, and it's palmed into the crowd there. Had to be as well by Munro coming across.
Yeah, but is that a good decision by being able to kick the ball over the back? You know, if you can get your hand to it, can you catch it? There's another 6. You know, it'd be interesting to see if there's some movement on the bench with Mike, because I think it's a great time for Mike to come on now. You know, both teams are starting to make yardage, and I think Mike can take advantage of it now.
Mike Ford, it's a difficult role, isn't it, player coach? You've got to be thinking about the pattern of the game and thinking about himself as well.
Yeah, you're thinking about the individual, which for Mike, and then you think about the team. So there's a lot of things going for your head. You need a good assistant in that area.
There goes McNicholas. Important part of a winger's game now, to come in field and act in a position like that and to play the balls. Brennan available, so is Norton. Another romantic story. Norton was just given a trial at the start of the season, having left Lancashire Lynx, and he's virtually not missed a match since. The find of the season for them. Roden. Elusive runner, Roden. Gibbons. Inari got 2 tries on this ground a week ago. Last tackle, but can Oldham make it count? They certainly are relying on the boot a great deal, but there's roars from the Widnes fans because they have the ball.
So they've put the kick to the right-hand side, but they had equal numbers, Widnes, on Oldham, and the kick wasn't good enough. It was on the left-hand side, where Oldham seemed to have the numbers. Now they've given up an error after kick, same as Widnes did before.
That one was rather high for the liking of referee Ganson, and so the penalty is given against Phil Farrell. That's why.
Yeah, it's a little bit of emotion running there and there. You know, it's a grand final. Sometimes things come in your head that you wouldn't normally do in the run-of-the-mill games.
Widnes, remember, the World Club champions just 12 years ago. They lead 6-4 here against Oldham, who've won nothing since the 1990 Division 2 Premiership, and here he comes. Mike Ford, what influence can he have? We shall soon find out. Crompton and then Agar, the longer ball, trying to prize a gap again with Dimitriou. Born in Australia, Jason Dimitriou. From Richardson it will be Cantillon, then it will be Crompton. Weston from Agar, keeps it flowing, and Crompton's not far away from the try line. The reverse ball, Simon Knox slips it back, and Matthew Long, who's just come on as a substitute. I thought he was going to repeat what he did exactly 12 months ago when he came on as a sub and scored immediately. Not to be.
Yeah, some of these unloads are causing Oldham some problem at the moment. If the ball hit the mark, I think it was try time. Very noticeable now, Mike Ford coming on. Here we go, gee. See the pass a little bit better. They're going to rue a couple chances here at the moment, Widnes at half-time, and they've had probably more opportunities to score.
You just feel as though they need a touch more steadiness, don't you? They're on top in many phases of the game, but they've not been steady near the Oldham line.
Yeah, it just seems when Agar and Crompton get the ball in their hands, the experienced players, they seem to be a lot better controlled.
Hayes, tiny little wingman. Brennan to Hanara. Pat Rich, the former university graduate in law, a bright lad. Clegg. It's a really colourful scene here. Oldham in the red and white now, driving towards the Widnes 20. 13 minutes remain in the half, and here is Ford with his first contribution, and it's one of those towering kicks, angled across right to left. Might come down for Oldham even now, and there'll be a penalty here for Oldham, so Mike Ford has had an influence.
Well, he has, and you'd expect them to take the 2 points here to even the scores up, you know. And it's interesting, isn't it? You know, we keep coming back to that kicking game. You know, both teams are a little bit struggling on the edges, how to arrive at the ball at the right time and how many people should be putting in the frame.
I think Neil Kelly will be speaking with his players about these high bombs, won't he, during the half-time interval? It's where they've been uncomfortable.
But also you've got to remember too there, John, you know, they created field position by giving away penalties or letting teams back into your area, and this is where, you know, Agar's done very well with his kicking game, and when Crompton's got the ball in his hand, he's created doubt, and you know, I think it's more with what they do after their kicks down the other end does not encourage the opposition up in the other arm.
So Pat Rich, for the second time today, puts the ball down and hopes that he can pull 2 points back for his son.
It's a big kick here for Pat Rich, because in the previous one he looked a little bit nervous and he hooked it, and he's got a hard kick here, you know, and he misses his first two. It puts a few little gremlins in his head, doesn't it?
He's scored in all but one match of the season, and if he does kick this, it'll bring his tally for the campaign to 320 points. No mean return at all. It's from the preferred side for a right-footed kicker, and the rule will tell you whether it's going over or not, and the answer, I think, is not. 0 out of 2. Isn't it strange how different every game is?
Well, and the big turning point there, he didn't kick it dead, and they've got the ball, Widnes, and they're bringing it out, and they'll be at the 20-metre mark on ruck 2.
Oh, great running from Percival as well. Brave running. 2 tries from him a week ago. Hodgkinson now running cross field. It's warm down there, but the players responding with some tremendous energy. Richardson has to keep in field here. Just as close as we expected it to be.
I think it's an important time now, John, with looking up at 10 minutes before half time. If you've got a strike player on the bench, to bring him on, because there's a little bit of tightness coming in. It's a warm day. It's a great time to bring a player who's very good to strike the opposition defence-wise.
Well, that man could be John Huff, I suppose, of Oldham, or it could be Chris McKinney of Widnes, who was a try-scorer at Lee. Simpson held.
I think even John Famalo, you know what I mean, the former Salford player, you know what I mean, he's very, very strong, powerful runner. He could cause some problems here.
They can't get Roden down here. Half an hour gone, 10 minutes remaining in the first half at Spotland. Widnes 6, Oldham 4. Some good rugby league football. Anthony Gibbons caught by the ankle by Cantillon. So Brennan, feeding off him is Farrell. Nomination for the NFP Young Player of the Year earlier this week.
Yeah, he's got a great role model in his brother, hasn't he? You know, probably role model for a lot of players in the UK is Anthony.
Very much so. Hanari now, the New Zealander. Gibbons immediately finds support at his shoulder from Norton. 5 gone, says referee Ganson. Oh, shocker of a pass. Ford played a bit of football with it and then lifted it over. It's a similar scenario to the one a couple of minutes ago. Yet again it spins out of the grasp of 2 or 3 players before it's finally collected by the Oldham man. Widnes man rather, and Widnes can make ground with Monroe.
They've made a replacement with this. They brought Joe Famalo on. They've replaced him with Simon Knox.
Yeah, Simon Knox has gone off. He could do the breather maybe. He's not in the first flush of youth, Simon. Here is Famalo. Remember his brother, Iseni? Also played at Widnes, of course. Cantillon, Crompton. They've got 1 try already, and Agar gets it away. Weston. Good enterprise from Widnes there. Now, a touch of steadiness required. Weston's just having a discussion though, because the ball has gone to ground and the referee says knock on, and nothing wrong with it, so it's a scrum.
Easy to see on the replay here. It's very noticeable, both teams' defence, they're not getting off the line as quick, and both teams get a little bit tight before half-time. There's yardage, and these interchanges from the benches are very vital at the moment.
And unusually for rugby league, maybe Craig Weston had a bit of a go at one of the officials there.
He could be a whinging Australian, John.
Glad you said that, not me.
It's a bit hard to tell what happened there in the play of the ball.
Yeah, who'd be a touch judge?
The run Joe Famalo created, it really created some room for him to shift it then, and they were looking very threatening there. Widnes.
We've referred to the fact that it's a very warm afternoon here in Lancashire, and that could be a telling factor later on. But very shortly these players will be able to head to the dressing room for a breather, but 7 more minutes of action first of all coming up with Pat Rich here. We have a couple of university lads in the team, Oldham. Fullback Simpson's another one who went to Loughborough University. And it is Oldham now in the shape of Brennan, then Ford. Oh, and he's almost got him into the gap. Clegg. Seems years ago now since Clegg made his debut for Bradford Northern.
It's getting very noticeable, John. Both teams are making easy yardage just on their go forward at the moment.
Ford the kick. Hesitation, and Atchison knocks on. There was confusion there between Monroe and Atchison. They looked at one another, and by the time Atchison put his fingers on the ball, he was dubious and he knocked on.
I don't think it's so much confusion, John. I think it was just he lost focus and concentration on the ball. He lost eyesight where the ball was, and he was looking at the opposition. An experienced player like this, you think he can control that. You know, he's had a couple of digs at it. The big thing for Widnes is that there's no points scored out of it, but it's created a lot of pressure. Very astute kick by Mike, but I think Paul's contributed to the error.
Big chance this for Oldham, though.
Yeah, they're just, both teams are making very easy yardage just on go forward, and it's not so much the big plays you have to do at the moment, it's just keeping it fairly simple and them coming up with a very good kicking game at the end. So, I think Mike's timing into the game's been very noticeable. I think Joe Famalo coming in also knows when they go forward, but it's a very much at the moment a little bit of an arm wrestle.
It's very similar to the 3 previous finals, and there's nothing to choose between the teams. But Oldham are looking to put some distance between themselves and Widnes from this scrum. Clegg got a try here last week. He's only got 2 all season, but one of them came here on this ground. Farrell. Important for Widnes now to protect their line, to safeguard their lead, but Gibbons will find Rodin. The reverse ball now. He'll keep going. This is Anthony Gibbons. The twins featuring together. Cross it goes. Ford. Which way to go? Jinking, he might get all the way. He loves it out. Oh, what a miss by McNicholas. It seemed that the try line was beckoning. McNicholas just had to hold on to Mike Ford's pass, and it seemed certain Oldham were going to score a try.
Well, it was noticeable on the ruck before. Atchison on their left-hand side, Widnes missed the tackle. Then Mike had very good vision to see they had numbers on their left. He's done well. He's spotted the bloke, and it's just a simple miss. And gee, both teams were going to probably ruin some big chances they've had here in the first half.
Could have been 15 or 20 apiece even.
Yeah, you only get so many opportunities. You've got to take them when you can. It is noticeable both teams are tiring just before half-time. Well, there's 5 minutes before half-time. I think that we got a try scored here. I'm not sure which team, but it's very noticeable they're making yardage, both teams.
Both making yardage, both making mistakes. Unforced as well. Hodgkinson. He's one of those players who's able to look while he's running, isn't he? He cocks his head to one side and looks to see which way he can go. Twists and turns. Now Cantillon, who runs straight, and he generally makes 10 or 15 yards as well. He often finds holes. It's Crompton. Missed out for Marlowe. Instead it's Long, and Long may do to Oldham what he did a year ago to Lee, but not quite. Is there a score here from Marlowe? 1 to go. They've got to make this count, surely. Through the hands, Agar, into the try zone goes Jason Dimitriou. Widnes have got their try on the very last tackle, thanks to the enterprise of Richard Agar.
Well, it was building on to both teams. Defence wasn't probably as fluent and as off the line as it has been. And a couple of good go forwards there, created the space. They had the numbers there, Widnes. They were very much not sure what to do there, Oldham. The last defender actually tried to go for the intercept, and that was building for a while. I think the run from Cannon on was very important to it. That created some space around the rucks to bring the defenders in.
Jason Dimitriou's 15th try of the season, and Ian Millwood predicted it. He said somebody's going to score. I'm not sure who. The answer is Jason Dimitriou.
Yeah, if you look here, Canton's got the dummy half. A good wide pass, which has cut out a player. That defender didn't have to come in on Crompton. He should have stayed out on his man, and Dimitriou's been able to walk through.
They're very happy now. It's Widnes into double figures, and they've got 2 tries to 1. And it's reward, I suppose, for their persistence. They should have had more tries, really. But can Weston add the 2? He has kicked 1 so far, unlike his opposite number, Rich. And he's scuffed it, but it's gone wide. So it's Widnes 10, Oldham 4.
John, this is not the first time when Pat Rich has been confronted that he's charged in on the wrong bloke, and Dimitriou's made a bit of space here, and I think it's something Neil Kelly will note, that he may move his target from away from Weston to going back towards Dimitriou at Rich.
Well, we can hear now from the Widnes coach, Neil Kelly.
Neil Kelly, 6-point lead as you approach half-time. Very satisfied?
Yeah, I've got to be satisfied with the points, although I'm not over happy with how we're controlling the ball in important areas.
You had a lucky let-off just before you scored that try, didn't you?
Yeah. I like to think so. I like to think we can get a little bit of luck. But I think when Oldham's in our quarter, the only danger looks like it's going to come from kicks, and we're just not dealing with them right at the moment. And obviously that's something we're going to talk about at half-time.
OK, thanks, Neil.
3 little words there: controlling the ball, and that is the essence in rugby league.
Yeah, both teams have been a little bit edgy, and you mentioned that word that we've been talking about, the kicking game. It's created a bit of problem through poor positioning and poor execution by certain players.
This is a key minute of the game. 30 seconds to go to half-time, plus whatever might be added, and Widnes are close to that Oldham line again, and a second try now in the space of a couple of minutes would alter the complexion of the entire match. And Crompton is leading them forward in company with Hodgkinson.
This will be the last set of the day. This half.
They've got the wind in their sails at the moment, though, and he's not going to go down here. They're going to drag him over the line if they're not careful. Tommy Hodgkinson. 5 seconds remaining in the half. Listen out for the hooter. Oh, and Crompton couldn't get the pass away. Oldham survive it, and it looks like we're going to get to the interval at 10 for Widnes.
Well, I don't think he was actually trying to go for an intercept. He was just wanting to knock the ball down because he didn't want to contribute to a try there right on half-time. I think they'll blow the whistle before half-time. I think that's just about minutes up. I think they'll be very relieved, Oldham.
It's Widnes' ball, though, and Crompton has found a gap here, and Agar's there with him. Oh, and of all people, it's Cantillon who drops it 5 yards from the try line. A man who scores just about every week. Cantillon had scored in about 13 successive matches up to last week, and you'd have backed him 9 times out of 10 there. Oldham have a penalty.
Well, the clock's probably confused the players as much as us, John. You know, I mean, we're into a little bit of injury time now, and that was a great opportunity there for Widnes to really put some points on. But even if they couldn't do anything, probably come up with a field goal. As you said, 1 point's been very vital in the last few years.
But at the moment, 6 points separate Widnes and Oldham. Simpson wriggles away from the tackle, but not away from Dimitriou. Well, it doesn't seem long since Widnes had all the great names: Martin Afire and Kurt Sorensen, Andy Currier, Tony Myler, and Frank Myler's here in the crowd today as well. Some of the old Oldham greats as well. Well, the Bernard Ganleys will be looking down on this match, hoping that Oldham can bring back the great days. What used to be the watersheddings, now Boundary Park, of course. The game goes on. How ironic it would be if Oldham got a try now. Widnes having blown their chances. 5 tackles gone. It's Oldham's opportunity, and Mike Ford will try and find a try for them. It was a decent enough ball that he couldn't hold on, Gibbons, and it's the same old pattern.
Well, Dave Gibbons was looking at the clock, trying to determine how long there is to go. But, you know, they stacked all their players on the right side. They put all their eggs in one basket, so Widnes were able to read it pretty easily, and they handled it very well. Their execution was good. They got off their line and got in the face of man-on-man.
Hodgkinson to run it out. Still he goes. He's having a good game for me again, Hodgkinson.
Geez, created a lot of doubt on the edges, John. Here goes Cantillon again. Geez, course.
They just cannot get the man down, and he's still going again. Finally, Simpson brings him to ground. The last action of a rumbustious half, though. Cantillon's been to the fore, as always. Widnes have got 2 tries, one from Phil G, one from Jason Dimitriou. Oldham, who got the first try of the match through Keith Brennan, have been on the back foot for much of this game. But at half-time here at Scotland, it is Widnes Vikings 10, Oldham 4.
Here in Rochdale, and it's Widnes Vikings 10, Oldham 4 at half-time. Peter, it's been a rather strange game, hasn't it?
I've enjoyed it very much. It's ebbed and flowed. Oldham started really big, I thought. Widnes looked, I thought, a little bit nervous at the beginning, but it worries me, as I'm championing Oldham's cause today, that at the back end of the first half there, Oldham started falling off a lot of tackles, and they looked a little bit shell-shocked at times, especially when Cantillon was picking the ball up from dummy half and making big inroads. And at the moment, I've got to say that Widnes looked the more lively outfit.
But there have been a lot of mistakes on both sides, haven't there? Not just Oldham, Paul.
Yeah, I think the weather's contributed to that, and also the new rugby league balls, the shirts.
you know, they're all contributing factors. But again, the game's played at such a hot pace that, you know, both sides are coming up some errors, and they could be crucial in the end of the day.
Peter, we heard Neil Kelly during the game there saying that Oldham really have only threatened from high kicks. Is that the way you see it as well?
Yeah, I think I know where Neil's coming from, but I don't think he's giving Oldham as much credit as they deserve. I see a lot of holes around the ruck area that Oldham aren't really running at enough. When they bring people back on the inside ball, the Widnes defenders are defending too wide, and I see 1 or 2 holes around the ruck area. The main threat, as Neil is quite correct, is that they are having a big difficulty, big problems defusing the high ball, and that's something I'm sure is going to tighten up on at half-time. Still a long way to go, and I think Neil's undersimplifying it. I think Oldham are playing better than he'll give him credit for.
But Paul, they did score their first try. The Oldham's first try did come from that high bomb, didn't it?
Yeah, it's something
we can
I know that Neil's brought along, that he says something he's going to address at half time. It's something that's very hard to address in a 10-minute space at half time. You've got to try and arrive at the ball, get your hands to a ball to be able to nullify any high kicks, and there was a great try by Brennan on the spot.
But it was a defensive mistake.
Definitely, and it's not something you can solve over, you know, in 10 minutes. They've got some deficiencies there, out the back and on both flanks.
You said, Peter, when Widnes actually scored their first try, that they were, you predicted it, didn't you?
Yeah, well, it came from a repeat set, and in this weather, you're doing it tough having to defend sets of, you know, 8, 9, 10, and sometimes at the last tackle in the sequence, the 12th tackle, and I think it was fairly predictable, and I think from that point onwards, Widnes gained the upper hand a little bit psychologically, and Oldham, like I say, looked a little bit shell-shocked going into it at half-time. But I think, you know, regrouping time, if they've got the old stager out there 40, let's not forget Oldham bombed a chance just before Widnes scored that second try. So I think, you know, a lot to be got out of the game yet, and I think both sides will be talking about how they can improve, and possibly, you know, I'm still going to go for Oldham. I'm still going to back my hunch.
Okay, well, we can now see the Widnes first try, and this was a good, powerful play, wasn't it, by the forward?
Yeah, definitely. A great platform was laid early, and Widnes made great inroads into the Oldham defence. And again, you know, it's just good vision and good, strong play and good running lines. Ends up being a very forceful try by Steve G.
Well, Mike Ford, obviously, he did bring himself on. He did actually have an instant effect, didn't he?
Yeah, Mike's again. He plays an electric style of game when he comes onto the field, and today he showed that influence yet again. And again, he is a turning point, and as someone that he's going to be in Widnes' thorn all game.
They really should have scored here, Peter.
Oh, they should. I mean, Fordy got the ball in what I think was a move that went wrong. There was only him and the wingman, and I think it was pure speculation, really. He dummied, and the defensive player on the Widnes side fell for it. But the line beckoning there, and as often happens, you should score, the opposition come away, and the next set of 6, Widnes scored at the other end.
Paul, yeah, the Widnes try just before half-time, was that a mistake, defensive mistake?
Yeah, Widnes come back from it. I mean, Oldham come back from it quite strong. They recovered quite well. Mike Ford was a key person there. He got Matty Long just before the try line, and then in turn there was some deficiencies out wide in Oldham's defence. You know, players coming out of the line trying to solve a problem. Some good vision by Richard Agar, and some good lines by Jason Dimitri, and a good try.
Well, we did see there the defender went for the wrong guy, then, didn't he?
Yeah, it's looking upfield and communicating and see what's in front of you, and he just looked at the ball and went for the player, and then, you know, confusion, try time.
Yeah. Peter, we mentioned Phil Cantillon earlier, and he has had a great effect, hasn't he? Because nobody's been able to bring him down.
He's got a great individual running game. He's an individual player, and he will wait and look. And when there is a slack marker defence, you know, and also the A and B defenders either side of the play the ball, he'll take advantage. And he's also got a very strong centre of gravity, and he's very hard to pull to ground, as we're seeing right now. And give him an inch, he'll take a yard.
Okay, right, well, we'll take a break there, and after the break we'll come back and see what it's like in the dressing rooms, and we'll also see what it's like to be one of the most committed fans in rugby league. Don't go away. Hello again, it's half-time here at Spotland. It's Widnes 10, Oldham 4. And before we chat with the lads a bit more, let's just see what's been happening in the Widnes dressing room with the coach, Neil Kelly.
Resist the temptation to throw it, then you'll just start off the next play, or the next play, or the next play, or you'll get an outcome and you'll keep them in their own quarter and they'll be dropping out to us. And that's going to be a tactic. Don't force the ball in their quarter, because we don't need to. if we play a patient game, you'll get the points. Okay, that's what we've got to do. Do the right thing with the ball in their quarter. All right, fellas.
Sorry. Peter, don't force the ball, be patient.
Quite correct, they're in the lead, they don't have to chase the game. It's talking bog standard coaching talk there, and I know Paul will agree with me. You've got to play patient, you've got to build from the platform. Like Neil said, if you don't score off this second, third tackle, or even the last tackle, you might force a repeat set, get the ball for another set, and score like they did in the first half on maybe 8th, 9th, 10th tackle.
OK, well, we've seen what's been going on in the Widnes dressing room. How about Oldham with Mike Ford? We'll get that in a moment. Do you agree with what Peter said about what Neil Kelly was saying?
Oh, of course, it's part of coaching, as we were said before by Peter. You just got to be patient, build pressure down that end of the field, get a repeat set, and things could happen. I think a drop goal or anything like that might happen from Widnes and could turn the game very, very soon.
Well, I think we can now go inside the Oldham dressing room. Here's Mike Ford.
Yes. You know, I know it's hard inside it, but just keep getting in, he'll come. Anything, try and get on the outside, cross it up to you, like you said, let's do it in general. You know, give it ball, early. That ball, give it pat, and you're going to I know you try. Eagle is
Mind reader, time to be a mind reader. No, I mean, Ford is playing, he's got to reserve his energy. He's obviously got a little bit of a different approach to Neil Kelly. He's doing an individual thing, which often is the better way, I think sometimes. The temptation is always to try to do the group situation, but Ford has got his own way of working, and no doubt he's just talking to one or two key individuals about how he needs them to play in this half.
Obviously, different coaches do have different approaches, don't they? I mean, and those two are widely different, aren't they?
Definitely, their Mike takes the very calm approach, and probably the right approach for Oldham at this stage. They need a calming influence, and it just goes to show the influence that Mike has over the squad, and just there being very composed about what he's doing, and probably leading the right way for Oldham in the second half.
OK, well, it's been pretty quiet in those two dressing rooms, really. But I'll tell you what, it gets pretty heated in the stands. We can now have a look at how Chris Hamilton, the Oldham chairman, has been reacting to the game so far. We've got a mic on him.
Go on, lads!
That's what it means to him. Have you got a chairman like that?
No, our chairman's very quiet. No. I think has he won the lottery? I mean, he wears his heart on his sleeve. It's not long ago that Chris was actually a supporter, and obviously when you become a director, you still retain some of that supporting mindset, and he's enjoying his day, obviously.
Yeah, well, absolutely. OK, right, the second half just about to start. All the players are out there. It's time to rejoin our commentary team for the second half. Neil Millward, and first John Hell.
A vital 40 minutes in the very existences of Widnes and Oldham Rugby League clubs. 10-4, 6 points separating the teams. We've said all along it could have been 20 apiece. But, well, I do expect some more scores in this half, especially with this heat.
Yeah, the heat's playing a big part in it, but I think it's been a half of Widnes of missed opportunities, and for Oldham to a little bit more control and build some pressure. So, you know, the scores are very close. It's still anyone's game, and we're down the finale now, aren't we?
The Super League may be 40 minutes away for either Widnes or Oldham. More of that later. And it is Widnes who resume the final. From Richard Agar into the hands of Gibbons, into the hands of Clegg now. You can't really miss Jason Clegg, can you?
No, he's built for comfort, isn't he? He's a big, nice, cuddly bear, but his go forward's very good.
Has he been on the honey at half-time? Yeah. And if you think he's big, wait till you see Danny Guest. I think he's between 17 and 18 stone. The number 17 of Oldham if he gets on in the second half, and it's the perfect day to bring substitutes on as well in this sultry heat.
We have got it, but your timing's vital. You know, you've got timing vital when you need to bring a fresh person on, whether it's defensively or a strike player in attack, or where you need to improve your kicking game. There's some vital decisions to be made. This 40 minutes will be crucial.
And there he was, Danny Guest. He's on, and here's a kick. This is vital as well. Start of the second half, McNicholas going for it. Well, McNicholas spurned one golden opportunity in the first half, but he's followed through on Ford's kick there.
It'll be the perfect set Mike Potter would have asked for. He said, with the first set, let's control it and get a kick in. He's put his hand up and come with an outstanding kick. It's very similar to the kick that Widnes come up with in the first half, and they scored the next set of 6. Can they challenge now Widnes defensively, Oldham?
Good defensive work there by Damien Munro, the former Halifax player. 24 tries for him this season. This will be kept in play by McNicholas. McNicholas broke his leg in Oldham's very first game as a reformed club. It's good to see him back now. Here is Guest. Danny Guest, will you believe his hobby is motorbike scrambling? Why so this come on with a motorbike?
Everyone have good suspension, John.
Chances for Oldham this time. Roden to Gibbons. That was David Gibbons. This is his twin brother Anthony, telepathic as you would expect. Brennan says to Simpson, leave this to me. I'll farm it out. Which way will he go? He'll go himself for the moment. Not the best option, maybe. Still got John Huff, remember, on the substitutes bench of Oldham. Gibbons, Farrell. They kept it going, but the referee, I think, will allow the move to continue because the ball did not go forward, but they've had 5 of their 6.
Gee, that's an interesting. I think the touch judge was signalling 6 to go, and Steve said no. Don't think it was.
Another forward kick that spun off a Widnes body. Nice take from Roden. I thought he was going to let that go, but he didn't. And now 6 it is, and it's Widnes' ball handover.
Here's the vital one. The touch judge said it was 6 to go, but Steve overruling the referee.
A good spot. And here's Chris McKinney, who's come on for Widnes. I think it's Steve G who's gone off to be replaced by last week's hero McKinney. This, without doubt, is Sean Richardson. First chance Widnes have had really to make ground in this second half.
You'd be probably a little bit disappointed, Mike, they didn't do better with that another set of 6 on the Widnes line. There's Canton again. Gee, he's causing some problems and anxiety in their defence.
He is quick. And he's got that low centre of gravity which helps him. Now it's Agar. There's the kick. Could be just too long, but Simpson doesn't risk it. He's going to get caught behind his own line now. And maybe he could have taken a risk and allowed the ball to go dead. He chose to pick it up and to run it out and didn't get very far.
Well, the thing that created him to put doubt was the pressure from the kickers, and also from the pressure from the chasers, I should say. And they've made him make a decision. Really, it's tit for tat there. They said, whatever you can do, we can do. Let's see if Widnes can put a better set of 6 at the back end that Oldham didn't. I think there's a noticeable change here now. Hoff coming on. He's a very good hooker. He's a very good running hooker. And I think he's going to probably challenge Canton and probably do what Canton's been doing in the first half.
Hoff on for Brennan. 10 points to 4 it is. Widnes in front. Hodgkinson with the ball in his grasp.
To the size of those 2 front rowers, but for Oldham in Guest and Clegg, you know, it's ideal for them to run around that area.
And this is ideal for Famalo. He's still there going Famalo. They've managed to haul him to the ground, but watch Cantillon go now. With the pass. Crompton wants to score against his old club. Widnes don't care who scores, so long as someone does. Again, Cantillon will ship it out for Hodgkinson. The short ball, Agar the longer one, just taken. Dimitriou on the try sheet in the first half. Agar, which way to go? Comes right. Munro's popped up in centre field. It's out wide with Dimitriou now. They've got to hold him here, Jason Dimitriou. Hold him they do. Still a chance for Widnes. Richardson. Oh, he was looking to spin in the tackle, and it was a forward pass.
Yeah, the linesman ruled that, and we'll have to look at the situation. But I don't know if Mike can go with these 2 front rows at the size of them, and with Canton on running like that, they're creating a lot of space there around the rucks, and it may be something there he has to look at, and to bring someone on with a little bit more agility around the rucks instead of the 2 big blokes, and only have one on them at a time.
Neil Kelly would be the happier of the 2 coaches for my money at the moment.
Well, he would, because they've had more opportunities, and they've blown a few opportunities, but they've created more, so he'd be the happier, and also the scoreboard makes him feel a little bit more comfortable.
He won it 12 months ago, not very far away from here at Gig Lane, Bury, when Lee were the opposition, and on that day Richard Agar dropped a goal to clinch victory.
Well, it's when Agar gets the foot to his boot, he's the one who creates a lot of doubt, and his kicking game's very astute.
He's very much a Neil Kelly man, of course, as indeed Matthew Long and Sean Richardson, 3 members of last year's Dewsbury team here to witness today.
I think what Oldham got to do too here, John, is Hoff now. He's come on. He must have come on for a roll to challenge and run from dummy half, and he's got to sort of put some pressure on the witness front rowers now. Nice
jinking run from Gibbons. Hoff will be involved, so will Guest. Danny Guest, whose career began at Keighley. Then he went to Lancashire Lynx. A number of players played for them. It's another forward kick, and it's probably just going to go out, and allowed to go out sensibly by Aitchison, but pinned him back in the corner.
Well, he was trying to put it in the in-goal area, but he got the second best option here, Mike, by putting it in the touch. They can walk to the scrum, get a bit of composure, get their defence set, and they can then get into witness the next set. So Mike's 2 telling kicks here already straight after half-time.
He is their big game player, Mike Ford. Remember, it's the last time we shall see him in action.
Well, he's the captain of the ship, isn't he? You know, and he's got to sail it through the rocky waters and get into the calm waters.
He's the captain, the admiral, the first lieutenant, he's everything, isn't he? But it's Widnes' ball now, with Hodgkinson. Long, whose father Arnie used to play for Dewsbury and Bradford. But he was a big chap as well. I've no doubt he's watching this game with interest, watching his son's progress. They always manage to find Agar. Agar pumps it forward. Simpson has a decision to make. Now he's got to turn and get away from the clutches of Demetriou. Simpson's job simply there was to retain possession of the football for Oldham. They have it with McNicholas now. He's taken to ground.
Another astute kick by Agar. Oh, Jesus, that's a big error. Well, it's interesting. Agar gets a lot of 40-20s, and on this probably lengthwise smaller pitch, it's a wonder he hasn't gone for some 40-20s. But you know, this is a big error by Oldham, and this has really applied the blowtorch to him.
Here it is. They cannot afford to make this sort of mistake. Joey Hayes, and he couldn't hold on. Mike Ford, and he will know the importance of this scrum. Gives Widnes a bigger chance here, and they're going to bring Simon Knox back on as well in place of Long. I think Long's gone into the blood bin there, so that doesn't count as a substitution.
Well, that'll help him later on where it doesn't count, and with this warm weather they'll need him later.
Can Widnes capitalise on that error? Demetriou can't run straight, so Oldham regroup. Defensively they've been excellent this season, Oldham. Only Lee have put 40 points on them. Cantillon for Crompton, looking dangerous for Marlowe. Well held, but he's still going. Takes some bringing down, does Joe for Marlowe. Cantillon once more. Crompton, the dangers. It's Knox, the man who set up the third really important try against Lee last week. Did he play it? Cantillon's in. Cantillon's over. Cantillon's got his try. If the referee agrees, it's his 48th of the season. There's no holding Cantillon close to the line, but is it going to count?
Well, he's created that doubt all day from dummy half, Cantillon, and they were worried about the Oldham offence. They have numbers on the right. They were trying to push people there. They were worried about where they're going to shift at the left. Cantillon sensed that they weren't set around the marker play and in the first rucks off the marker play, and he's had a go himself. Very physically strong. I'm not sure what he's looking at here at the referee. He's tried to play the ball. Whether he's looked at that to see if he's played it properly, but he's, you know, his strength, he's very strong, and he's definitely scored it. So he must be looking at to see if it was a correct play of the ball. And the Widnes blokes don't look very confident. They're coming back.
That was my only doubt, whether the ball was correctly played there. He's obviously grounded it.
So I think you've got to also look at the situation there, John. Did he make an attempt to play it? It doesn't actually have to hit the foot. He's got to show that he's made an attempt to play it.
And he tried with his right foot, didn't he? And then Cantillon spun as he's done so often this season. The man who broke Ellery Hanley's record for tries by a forward in a season. But the players are still standing and looking for the verdict. Here it comes.
Come on, John, make a decision. I think it's a try.
You got it right. Thank goodness. And what a key moment in the match that may well be. And it comes from the player of the season, Phil Cantillon, with his 48th try, and Widnes stretch into a 10-point lead.
Yeah, well, it's very noticeable again. It was Cantillon. I mean, his running has created a lot of doubt, and he's physically strong, but also he backs it up with a lot of speed. And in that area there, he was always going to have a go, and with him in doubt and creating that go forward. I think it was noticeable on the early rucks there too, John, that Crompton turned the ball back into sides some big forwards and also brought defenders in, which they couldn't create help on the edges. And they were 6s and 7s communication-wise. He's taken advantage of it.
Yeah, it all came from that Oldham error.
Yeah, it's that error. You know what I mean? They withstood him there, and they come up with the error. They passed to Mike, and he's put it down, and it's built pressure on him. Big kick, this one.
For Craig Weston. This to make it 16-4. It's not there, and the standard of kicking today has been disappointing.
Yeah, both of them look very hesitant. You know, they both stabbed at the ball, and it's probably not the fluency. Here we've got that try again, and the lead up from it was Joey Hayes. Why Joey had to pass it? Because there was no one in front of him. He'd have been better off taking the yards himself. They've taken advantage. Crompton's put a ball on, which the crowd thought may have been a little bit forward to Knox. Knox has tried to play the ball as quick as possible. He's got two blokes laying on the ground. He's charged forward, created a bit of space, tried for Kent.
It's all happening for Widnes at the moment, and what's happening now is that Sean Richardson is taking them up towards the halfway mark again. Hodgkinson all seems to be available, always wanting the ball, sign of a good player.
What he's doing is creating a bit of doubt on the edges, and if the players could link up with him, I think they could take more advantage of it. Tell you what, John, geez, a vital time with 30 minutes to go. These next 5 or 10 minutes will make or break Oldham.
Well, they did it last week here. This is McKinney. And there's going to be a penalty for Oldham now. Absolutely make or break for Oldham's season, isn't it? Because if they go another 6 points behind, they might have come back against Rochdale. You wouldn't fancy them to do it again to Widnes.
No, you know, you wonder how much mentally that would have took out of them last week, having to score those 3 tries in the last 7 minutes. And at the moment, it's a really important time that they don't look at the clock and they don't look at the scoreboard, is that they just get some back-to-back sets and get a bit of momentum and rhythm.
Danny Guest. Oldham are going to make another substitution in a moment. Norton's going to come back on, but for the moment it's Simpson, and they let him go for a moment there. This is Rich. The Oldham fans are praying here. They know how badly their side needs a score. They will look to Gibbons. He will keep going. And the tackle tally counts. High. Farrell. Danny Guest has gone off, and back on has come Norton. Ford, one of those kicks. A teaser, crossfield. Got to make sure they're onside. Munro's made the catch. Oldham breathed a sigh of relief. Widnes breathed a sigh of relief.
Well, it wasn't probably put where Mike wanted to go. It wasn't a great kick, and it didn't go where the position he wanted. Gee, and they've opened up a little bit here now, Widnes. I think they would have been better off running it than Oldham. They had numbers there.
Dimitri's given them some more space. Famala will give them even more. Halfway they are. Still a long way to go in the game. 27 more crucial minutes. Richardson. Oh, great tackle on him made by Rich. There you go for Knox. Knox, who was in the Northern Ford Premiership All-Stars team named this week. There you go again. Clever little kick. Angled across. They weren't expecting that. And Crompton, the ball has gone to ground and it's booted into the stands. Oh, a worrying, heart-stopping moment for the Oldham fans again. Very clever kick there from Agar. I reckon he learned that from Derek Fox, the old Great Britain scrummer.
Well, noticeable there, they've come 80 yards. They received the ball on about the 20-yard mark, come 80 yards, and then retrieved another set of 6. You know, it's very good kicking. Agar's kicking has been outstanding. And there, Mike's kick wasn't up to standard there, and they've been punished by now having to do a line drop out and have to defend another set of 6.
Gathered by Firmalo. Tremendous runner for Marlow. He runs into a red and white brick wall. Cantillon, they've really got their tails up at the moment of Widnes, though. Oldham are struggling to get back into the contest at the moment. Crompton, one of the old heads in the side. Back for Knox, he's another of them. Seems to have improved with age, though, a bit like wine to Simon Knox.
Well, he has. He's using his guile and his vision to get there instead of his speed.
Cantillon's on the way again. Caught by the collar.
Yeah, they've got some numbers on the left, Widnes.
Crompton goes left as well. Agar, still going, Agar. Agar's only got a couple of tries since his move here from Dewsbury, but he's kicked a lot of goals and he's made a lot of tries. McKinney. Cantillon whips it out, whips it maybe too high. Hodgkinson then hacks it on. They're still looking here, Widnes, but Oldham at long last do have the ball.
Yeah, there's a big try-saving tackle there. Hanari got off his line and got Canton on. Canton looked very threatening there. He's going to go for his second. Big play there by Brian Hanari. Great defensive effort.
His last game potentially for Oldham. As I say, he's moved to the club from St Helens. I don't know quite what's going to happen with him next season.
Well, I know they've been very happy with him, and I think they may include him as their import next year. You know, and if they did happen to go up and win this game, I think they would probably include him that. They've been very happy to tell us that they have. And this is the relief they needed here now as a penalty, to get some composure back into their game and get some go forward.
The voice of the coach of the world champion St Helens, Ian Millwood there, saying what a vital phase of the match this is. Not yet halfway through the second half, but Oldham definitely need the next score if they are to stay in with hope today. McNicholas throws it back, doesn't get there. Widnes' ball.
Well, we're talking about the old campaign at Crompton. He was a young Eva Beaver there. He's seen the ball on the ground and he thought it was a £100 note there, the way he chased after it, and he did very well to clean that up with other people around him.
Many of these players have had experience in Super League, and you never know how they'll go if they do get up there next year. But it would be great to see them getting the chance. I think we've said before that there's got to be a carrot there for the teams in the Northern Ford Premiership. They've got to have ambitions. And Widnes certainly have ambitions here. This is Weston tearing towards the Oldham line. Kicks ahead. There's a chase on here. And very well played by Simpson. He had to play a bit of football there. And he tapped it away as the man came tearing in on him, Agar.
Well, you know, you talk about Super League. Weston's looking very comfortable that he fit into that bill, very much so. At the moment, very astute kick. You know, he's had to put his body there to fall back, and you know, some of these kicks at the moment are really causing some problems for Oldham, and they're very astute kicking, and that's probably in the last 10 minutes that they've really applied the pressure.
Chris Percival unable to get there.
Do not invade the pitch. Please stay off the playing area.
I think they just questioned whether Weston put his foot in the touch, and the linesman said he didn't. By looking at that, he didn't either, and it's the right decision by the ref to go and ask him.
Here they come, Widnes now. Agar chances this time again with Atchison in the line. Dimitri will hold on to the ball. He might make it all the way. It's his second. Widnes may be home and dry. Jason Dimitri is having a golden day, and he's got his second try for Widnes, who are looking good for Super League.
Yeah, well, that come from building on the pressure on the kick, and the last tackle option there when Weston ran it, he was very threatening. He come up with a very astute action at the end of it. From the scrum, they've applied pressure, and Fritz has had a couple of problems today on Dimitri, and once again he was caught wanting, having grabbing and not getting in close to the defender. And here it's a man-on-man situation, and unfortunately for Rich, he hasn't come up the winner.
It's his 16th try of the season, Jason Dimitri, and he seems to be a man in form today, that is for sure. And he's held him off, he's spun inside, he's dived for the glory, and Jason Dimitri may be taking Neil Kelly's Widnes up a division.
Well, at the moment, everything's looking good for him at the moment. You know, there's still 20 minutes to go, you know, but it's noticeable that Oldham are going to have to score next. Another big kick here at the moment because both kickers have struggled to put him over, and this could be a little bit of a nail in the coffin if he can get this one.
You just can't see Oldham doing it for a second successive week.
The problem too, John, is the errors they're coming up with. You know, I mean, they're inviting Widnes in all the time to create pressure and attack their line.
It's Craig Weston, and he's done it, I think he has. It's 20 points to 4. Widnes are leading Oldham, and it must be a very happy Neil Kelly who joins us is on the touchline now.
Neil Kelly, do you think that try conversion is over for you in the Super League?
Not far from it. I'm looking at Rochdale's result last week against Oldham, and they had an 18-point lead going into the fourth quarter, so you don't want to be foolish to start counting my chickens just now, but certainly I'd rather be in this position than Mike Ford.
So your dugout's looking a lot happier than theirs.
I would hope so.
Thank you.
He has a smile on his face at the moment, but Oldham looked at us. No, there's been nothing here. It was a knock on there, so no matter that John Huff was close to the widnes line, play has to come back. There'll be a few tears as well at the final whistle. It's nothing worse than to lose in a final.
No, it's a great achievement to make one. You know, you can only get one winner. You know, as 19 teams to start the year, these are the two best teams that have made it at present, and there's nothing there. There's still a while to go. You know, I mean, they won't give in Oldham. They've shown that last week against Rochdale.
Well, they're resilient, if nothing else. But widnes have been the better side for me throughout, really, although they conceded the day's first try. With a bit of steadiness, they would have been there already.
Well, if you talk about momentum, they've won their last 14 widnes, you know what I mean? So, you know, they're very much confident, and it'd be very surprising to see them go down under now. I think the noticeable thing is the yardage they're making out up the middle, but now Dimitri and Weston, with their speed and agile on the edges, have really caused some problem to the two centres from Oldham.
Oldham's own form has been good. They've won 13 out of their last 14. Only Hull KR beat them on the last day of the season. Cantillon caught in the tackle of Paul Norton.
Well, the widnes supporters, they got the We're Going to Super League song going. They're very pumped up here at the moment in what is a great atmosphere.
It is a great atmosphere, but it's not so good for the Oldham fans. And what is tremendous in this ground, there's no segregation at all. We have seen widnes fans sitting next to Oldham fans. Some of them smiling, some of them looking a little bit glum, but there's no problems here. Everybody enjoying the afternoon sunshine.
But John, that's rugby league. You know, I mean, it's a great people's game. It's a great game in regard that you can interact. You don't have to have those segregations, those problems, and that's why we've got such a great game. We've got tremendous supporters, and we've got a great product on the field. I think Famalo here has just gone a little bit over the top, and he's going to be penalised.
Yeah, the first time we've seen the touch judge involved, and Famalo spoken to by referee Ganson. She shoots at the elbow there and holding the player down. No complaint from Famalo.
Grand final is 8,974. Thank you for your continued support.
Well, the booming tannoy system is just telling us the size of the crowd. It's so loud I couldn't hear it.
There's plenty here, John. There doesn't look to be many empty seats. It's a great advertisement for the game.
And the Oldham fans are obviously chanting, "Come on, Oldham!" And Hanari's got a pass away to Gibbons, has he? And it was almost an interception. Oldham must score soon. Farrell had a big season.
We've still got 18 minutes, John. You know, I mean, they've got to score soon, but you know, they just got to make sure they score next.
Yeah, 4 points for a try, and a goal under the sticks makes a vast difference, and Huff's got them close. Ford's going to get them even closer maybe now. The short ball Gibbons, the longer ball Clegg. Clegg, still Clegg! Clegg plunges for the line, and he's held up. My word, they did well to stop him there. And it'll be the last tackle. Can Oldham get their way back into this match? Not with that pass, they can't. The cheers are all from the widnes fans.
Yeah, just got a bit jumpy there. They knew they had to score, and they just pushed it. And there's a little bit too much anxiety in their play there, and I think some players on the right wanted it, some players on the left wanted it early in the end there. That the wrong decision was made.
Really looked as though Clegg might get in there. He didn't do it.
It was good defence here, but you know, on Clegg the previous ruck, wasn't it? Now, and once again, we've got a winger exposed, ball by himself, but the execution on the pass is not there to reward it.
Widnes have just taken Chris Percival off, but on the field here, Richardson looking to be a winner for the second year running and the third year in 4. So there we are, 8,974 here at Scotland, and how they've enjoyed the afternoon's entertainment.
Well, this gives them a great chance now, Oldham, because they're going to now get repeat sets.
There is Chris Hamilton, calmest man in town.
We'd be very proud of his club at the moment. You know, 4 years ago they were nearly down and out, and he's done a tremendous job there, and also he's heading up the RFL for the Northern Forward. So, you know, people like him are very passionate about the game. He's done a great job at Oldham.
People always ask the question about whether they will be allowed into Super League. Well, I'll tell you, Oldham have just spent £600,000 just on the pitch and of course his Oldham Athletic Football Club in conjunction with the Oldham Rugby League Club, but they're improving all the facilities at the ground, and Ford's got a ball away for Simpson now. Simpson's had another excellent season from fullback. McNicholas, Ford again looking to orchestrate the inside ball, easily spotted. For Roden, Gibbons, good play here, Pat Rich, can't make it. Keen spotting from Widnes once more. It's a good final though, it's a good rugby league game is this. And Gibbons, they might have a chance on the outside, but Ford instead goes to his right. Then he gives it off for Anthony Gibbons, who kicks it straight into the hands of Etchison, and the Widnes fullback gratefully just clings on.
Well, that was just desperation stuff. Now, they're passing on the ball along the line. It looks pretty, but it wasn't effective because they didn't create any doubt. And then all of a sudden, they spur of the moment ball, you thought he'd chip it, but the fullback was there, and that really sets in the old desperation stakes at the moment. They were down there, they just needed to just mount some pressure.
Cantillon doesn't even mention it for about 10 minutes, but when you do, it's usually in proximity to the opposition try line. Weston running well, the Australian, had experience with Huddersfield, of course, Craig Weston, when he first came over to England. Agar, he could go for up and under, and the old Eddie Waring days, that's what he would have been described as. And who's got the ball? Oldham have got the ball. Referee says let's have a stoppage here. The ball was knocked forward, and well, it's a big chance this one for Widnes really to seal it.
Well, it is. I mean, he's very brave the way he got up there and got himself around a lot of bodies and a lot of motion around him. But it'll be interesting to see what happened here. It was the linesman's call. The referee looked at the linesman and he said, but the player hasn't reacted too much to it. He's had to jump here. We've got plenty of people there. I think his own player's got in the road. He has lost it.
Atchison has made a break and put the ball down, and it's picked up and over the try line he goes, and the referee will have a look at that, but Damien Munro has put the ball down over the Oldham try line after some horrendous mistakes there. And is this another four for Widnes?
Well, I think you got looking there, John. Atchison had to pass it. You know, he had two people on him. There was a bloke on the inside who had no defenders on him. What we're looking for now is to see, did it get knocked down off an Oldham defender? There's two on him. There's really nearly three there on him now. He had to go for the pass. Well, if it has come off an Oldham, it's a try, because even though they did lose it the first time there, Oldham, the winger, had a chance to pick it up. We're going to have to get a better shot on that to see it. I think this shot will give us a better indication.
I would say that's a try. Any dispute? I would say that's a try.
Well, it's hard to pick up who's it come off. You know, I mean, if you look at the Widnes people, they're very confident, the players. It's going to be hard with a shot. You know, I think Atchison's got to pass because he's got a bloke on the inside who's got no defender on him. They've got three defenders on him. Here'll be the shot now. There's a pass on the inside. Is there a hand coming in there? Yes, there is. The winger has plenty of time to pick the ball up. He fumbles around with it. He comes up with a big error. Comes off the foot of Munro. Munro puts it down, and it's a try. And the Super League, here they come.
Nothing wrong with that. Damien Munro knew it as well. Everybody waited for the confirmation, and now they have it. Damien Munro has plunged another knife into Oldham's hearts, and Widnes fans are celebrating. They are jubilant. 24-4.
See, that's interesting, John. The last two tries have both come from scrums after an error by the Oldham team. So, you know, a man-on-man situation at both times, and they've been beaten. And that time, I think we ended up with nearly three defenders on Atchison. So two vital errors, two scrums, two tries.
Elementary mistakes, and that's what you cannot afford in this game.
Well, there's no rocket scientist stuff there, was there? You know, I mean, it was just, you know, players you see, you know, and it's just poor defense. And, you know, Oldham probably don't deserve what they're getting at the moment, but, you know, the amount of opportunities they had in the first half, Widnes, you thought, gee, you know, if they could create them in the second, had a huge chance. But Oldham has contributed with their errors.
Weston cannot convert, but it may not have been the prettiest try of the season, but it was probably the sweetest.
Well, there hasn't been any real pretty tries, has there? You know, like tries that you put in the archives of the great tries. They've all been built from errors from Oldham, and the amount of pressure, like we said, the last two have come from scrums after errors. And Atchison had to pass it there, but unfortunately the Oldham bloke had to dive on it. He didn't come up with it.
Well, now is a time for Oldham to call on their resources. It's a time for men to stand up, isn't it? Because it's an uncomfortable position to be in. 13 minutes to go. They need 21 points. It can be done, but you don't fancy it somehow.
Well, it's never over. It's an 80-minute game, and you know, I know my club have pulled out some great victories of that, but you know, the momentum's all Widnes way, and the crowd support is all their way. You know, they're getting it from the terraces besides the field.
Widnes certainly don't need to throw it about now, do they?
No, well, Crompton and Agar will control the proceedings here now. I think Agar's got to really just keep belting it down the other end of the park. You know, if he wants to go for a 40-20, fine, but he's just got to make them come off their line now.
Not been as one-sided as the score would suggest, but Oldham have just made too many errors.
Yeah, if you go back there, John, the last time they had the ball, they come up there unnecessary. Oh, here's another break here.
Knox, lovely, Cantillon, can he make it all the way? He always looks as though he might, and he's looking to offload. He's got it, away. Demetrio, remember he's on a hat-trick. Nobody's ever scored a hat-trick in a Northern Forge final. But he's an equal record holder at the moment. Munro chips ahead, tries to follow through, won't get the touchdown. Score stays the same, 24-4.
If you go back to that previous time there, John, when they had the ball, Oldham consecutive sets, and they come up that unnecessary little chip over the top, you know, on an early tackle. You know what I mean? And they've really made him pay now for it, Widnes. You know, this is good vision, isn't it? He's had a real crack at it. They've let it go. There's not much in it, you know, and playing, as you would imagine, a lot of confidence now, Widnes. They can smell the titles there.
Joey Hayes, we've not seen much of him as an attacking force today. He hasn't had the chances. Wingers need the ball to do that. Here's the other winger, McNicholas. Spurned one great opportunity in the first half when Ford put him in the clear. They'll keep going, Oldham. And here is Mannion, and he's got it through. McNicholas now gets off the blast to Hayes this time. Huffer acting half-back across the line from Rodenitz to Ford. Ford will look to be involved again here. How nice it would be, at least for him, if he could cap an illustrious career with a try. Though he was more concerned about the overall result, I'm sure. There he is again, and he's got it out. Mannion maybe. They're looking here. They're over, I think. And the referee again is going to call for the screen. It seems to have just about every time this afternoon. But have Oldham managed to haul themselves back into the contest in some way in this match?
Would have just chipped away here, Oldham. You know, a little bit of raw power. He's flicked the ball out the back. He's now going for the line. He's got two defenders on him. Whether he can get the ball down, gee, we might have to make an early decision here, John, me and you. Have a little bet on this one, but it's going to be a tough one, this one. They've worked very hard off the ball here, Widnes, to try and hold him there. It's good vision here. They've got numbers on the short side. He's committed to the marker. He's had a go himself, flicked the ball out. If anything, that was the pass right, but they won't. They're not really
whether he's got the ball down over the line or not.
Well, this is where you go, the benefit of doubt. Who does it go to, the defender or the attacker?
And a try it is for Mike Ford. Well, I said, didn't I, just in the build-up to that at least it would cap a marvellous career for Mike Ford if he could get his name on the score sheet, just as he did against Widnes 10 years ago in a final, and he's done it. But you still think it might be too late, but who knows? They fought their way back a week ago. Can they do it again? 24 points to 8. Mike Ford's name is up in lights again.
Well, how big's this kick? But, you know, if he kicks this, they've still got to score 3 tries, but you never use the word never.
Big kick for Rich, who's been on the sheet every match this season, but still not today. They're always difficult ones to call these because you're never sure whether he's got it.
Ford's done very well by committing the marker. Blokes run straight lines and try to go low with centre gravity. Ford's kept alive on the inside. He's used all of his size, if we can use the size for Mike, and he's come up with a try. At least he's going to say he scored a try in his last game, which is the grand final.
Yeah, he'd swap it for a win though, wouldn't he?
He'd swap everything for a win at the moment.
24-8 it is. 9 minutes remaining. But if they got another try now, that really would get Widnes' nerves flapping, wouldn't it? Here he is again, Ford. They're looking for gaps all of a sudden. They're starting to run it a bit better. And the touch judge will intervene, the referee will intervene. Ford's already taken the penalty there. Widnes making unnecessary errors, and a break through the middle almost by David Gibbons.
I think you've got to keep in mind too, Pat Richards missed 3 goals. You know, in the wash-up, even if they did score a couple, I think the goals will be the difference.
Oh, and another Oldham mistake. Huff had made the run, they couldn't cling on to his pass, and Widnes grasped the ball gratefully with 8 minutes on the countdown.
Yeah, like I was saying, even if they'd scored the tries, you know, I mean, to catch up to Widnes, you know, they haven't been converting them into 6 points. So at the moment, the most dominant team is still controlling it, and the errors are causing Oldham the problem.
That try for Oldham might just have needled Widnes again, and Hodgkinson is here with the ball.
Well, I'm sure Neil Kelly would have sent out the message, you know, I mean, last week these guys scored 3 tries in the last 7, you know, it would have been a gentle reminder to them.
Richardson carving a path through the middle. Sean Richardson, well, he lost the ball. That was ironic. I think he was caught in 2 minds there, whether to keep going, whether to get a pass away.
He's missed a tackle, Mike, Ford, a one-on-one, but he did he hook a piece of string onto that ball, did he? Because he's ran about 10 yards past him, and all of a sudden the ball just comes flying out. So he's a magician, that Mike Ford.
I think he slipped a bar of soap in there.
That's tiredness coming in, and that's a big man on a small man, and taking advantage of it.
Widnes, number 9,
73 minutes gone, Widnes 7 minutes away from what would seem to be a bid to play in Super League next season. And they will wave a fond farewell to the Northern Ford Premiership.
Well, they're all set up for it, aren't they, John? You know, I mean, they've got a tremendous stadium, junior development there. Another penalty, a little bit of niggling getting the game, but at the moment it's all Widnes. But you know, they're very much set up to go into the Super League, and I for one hope they do, because I'm looking forward to a local derby with them against St Helens.
Well, this was another indiscretion, and they've made too many in the last few minutes.
Actually, this is a little bit of experience play here now. He's talking to the ref, he's having a thing, but he's just winding the clock down, Crompton. It's a little bit of experience in him. He's getting tired too, and he's looking for a blow.
The Oldham fans are roaring here. They sent another score. Tearing into it is Norton. Norton for the line. They won't let him go, I'm sure. Ford, inevitably the orchestrator, gets a good ball away this time. Gibbons, the inside pass taken by his brother, no, dropped by the brother, and that, I think, might be the end of the day for Oldham, their last chance. Okay, it'll give me a chance to tell you the man of the matches, and there he is, sitting it out for the moment, but he's hardly been sitting down today. Phil Cantillon crowning a quite superb season, which has contained 48 tries. He is today's man of the match.
I think he's deservedly man of the match. You know, he's had a great influence on their go forward. He's been a real inspiration, very strong sort of person, and deservedly, and a former player who played with Leeds, wanted to play in Super League. He may get the opportunity now with Widnes.
Any more tries to come in? He predicted us one in the first half.
Oh, I think we'll see another try before the end. You know, I mean, there's a little bit of frustration getting in the Oldham game at the moment, and I think someone will come out of the line and offer an opportunity to Widnes.
Dimitriou's had a big game as well. He must have been a candidate.
Yeah, he has, but he's only created space by the space that Cantlon's created on the inside for him, you know what I mean? And it's the people on the inside have helped Weston and Dimitri.
Neil Kelly's used his substitutes cannily, and he's brought Holgate back on. And it's along the line. Now it's Richardson. Now it's Weston. They're trying to keep the ball alive, but in doing so, they've handed it back to Oldham.
Well, they didn't need to push it, did they? You know, I mean, they had them at 6s and 7s, their defence, you know, and all they got to do is just keep chipping away, and there is a try there for Widnes.
That's the sort of thing they must learn if they do go into Super League. Oh, and Danny Guest spills it, picked up by Etchison. Etchison, who's, well, it's 11 years since he made his debut for Widnes now in a match with Batley, and he scored that day. Crompton, shocking ball, said Fass, and Agar couldn't take it. Surely the ref's not going to let that continue.
there's a little bit of intensity going on in the game, and they're starting to come, a lot of errors creep in. Mainly it was Oldham after half-time, and now it's Widnes. I think they're thinking about a few other things that may happen tonight and the next day, you know what I mean? And they're thinking about what could happen down the track with some of these younger players in Super League and some of the older players finishing off with a grand final victory.
I think Widnes will know they'll have a bit of work to do on their squad. I saw them in the Challenge Cup this year at Bradford, and they were 30 points down in 20 minutes at Bradford. The game was won and lost that early. There might be something here for Oldham. The kick across the top. Munro to cover, but if it bounces kindly, Oldham could yet get a score. And it's picked up by Simpson. So here they go with a chance. 4 minutes left. Oldham raiding towards that Widnes line. The kick ahead will be fielded by Munro, and all right, he'll be taken there, but he won't care about that.
Well, they'll be happy with that at the moment, Widnes. You know, I mean, it was a scrum, and they've kicked it very early, Oldham, and now they've got a line drive out. They can take some time, get some composure in their defence in regard to getting their line set, who they're on. Look, they're milking the time now, which they're entitled to, you know. And with 3 minutes on the clock, we're about the jubilation and celebrations about to start.
And there is a young man there, one of the what's going on here now? They put into touch, I think he did. You just got a glimpse there of the Widnes kitman on the touchline, ready to celebrate. Paul Hansbury, who's been involved with the club for 25 years, going back to the day when he was a mascot. So great days for the Widnes people who've been involved with the club so long. There is Neil Kelly. He's wearing that smile of happiness, just as he did 12 months ago. And I think he knows it's his day. Up goes the thumb. The celebrations have begun already for the Widnes Vikings.
That probably typified Oldham's day. They had that kick up and they not come up with an error, you know, I mean, too many errors.
Another try would just be the icing on the cake for them now. It would be their 199th try of the season. I don't think they're quite going to get 200, but they might get one more. This is McKinney, who got their last try in the win over Lee. 2 minutes left, and disappointment on the Oldham bench. Tangible. Holgate. Well held. Spirited defence from Oldham, who have to show all their character at a moment like this. Cantillon will be somewhere near the line, but he's not going to get far. Last tackle, watch for an Agar kick. Could even be a drop goal. He usually drops one in this final. He's going to go for the up and under. And they're racing in on this. And he's over the line now. He spills it. McKinney touches down now, but I don't think that's going to be given.
No, he's knocked the ball on. And I thought Western might have been offside anyway. So if they'd gone to the video ref, he'd scored. I think they might have been in a little bit of trouble there anyway.
Final whistle, please, if do not enter the playing area, the winning team will only be allowed to put on up a banner if you stay off of the playing area. Thank you.
Inside the last minute of the match. Oldham beaten. It's certainly not disgraced. They've played their part in an exciting match. Error-ridden. Some more enterprising running from McNicholas. You feel if he'd had the ball more often in good areas, they might have done some damage. Rich. Then Roden. It's a really disappointing finale to Mike Ford's career.
Well, you can look at it that way, John, but you can look at it the other way. It's a tremendous achievement to get to the grand final, you know what I mean? He's given it his best shot, you know what I mean? And well, I think it's an outstanding achievement to get there.
Oldham's fans are just trying to lift their side for one last effort, and Gibbons is close to the line. Ford is as well. He's taken by Mannion, who's in. Surely, if he grounds it, it's a try for Mannion. Too little, too late, we know, but Kevin Mannion has got himself over the Widnes try line here, and Oldham are surely into double figures.
Well, I'm not sure if he's gone the video ref there or not, but it is a try, you know what I mean? It's a little bit of movement here, along the line, just create someone back on an inside shoulder. Support comes from Mike. He does very well there, Mike. Passes back into Mannion. Mannion's got a bit of work still to do. Takes two over with his long reach and arm. He's put the ball down, but he's got to try. You know, it's good to see. You know what I mean? Like, you look at Mike there. You know, older guy, could be thinking about what's happening in retirement there as a player, not as a coach. And he's really kicked up on the inside and he's come up with a try.
Try it is. It's 24-12, and there's something to celebrate there for Oldham. Not enough, but at least they've probably had the last try of the final. And Pat Rich, kicking the goal, has maintained his record of scoring in every match this season. So there's no consolation for Chris Hamilton, the Oldham chairman there. So disappointed. All the season's good work comes to nothing in effect. And for Neil Kelly again, it is a triumphant Northern Ford Premiership finale. Oldham have been beaten by Widnes. The final score, Widnes 24, Oldham 14. The familiar shot we get of dejected players bonding, but for Widnes an absolutely magnificent day of achievement, and they will now plead their right to take their place in Super League next season. And champagne is already out. The corks have been popped, and well, you can guess that they were Widnes fans. Mike Ford is saying his farewells to his disconsolate Oldham players, but they have not been disgraced today. Wonderful scenes for Widnes, a club that has won so much over the years, the First Division Championships in 1978, 88 and 89, the Challenge Cup winners on 7 occasions, the last time in 1984, and we had the great days of the Flyers and the Sorensons, but now we've got the Cantillons and the Munros, the Dimitrius and the Agars. So these are just wonderful scenes if you're connected with the Widnes Rugby League Club. They are forming a barrier here, and the cup will be very shortly presented. But the final score here at Scotland was Widnes 24, Oldham 14. Widnes' 15th consecutive victory may have taken them into Super League. Neil Kelly certainly has the Midas touch. Last year he was the coach of Dewsbury when they defeated Lee to win this trophy. Today Neil Kelly, having taken over midway through the season from David Hume, has steered Widnes to the same silver bowl. And you really can't speak highly enough of Neil Kelly for what he's done, Ian.
Oh, 3 grand finals in a row, 2 victories, tremendous achievement. Definitely knows how to operate in grand final week, and I think that's the appropriate thing, how to handle grand final week. And you know, overall, they were the most dominant team, and probably the most dominant team in the Northern Ford in the second half of the year.
Sir Rodney Walker there, just peering forward, but Neil Kelly is undoubtedly the man in the picture tonight. He has the Midas touch, as we've said, in this competition, and he really is making his mark on this great, great game. And look at the happy faces there, Femalo, and always on the other side you have dejection. And so Leo Casey brings the Oldham players forward here to shake hands with Sir Rodney Walker, and Steve Russell there, the chairman of Northern Ford Dealers. Mike Ford, disappointed, I have no doubt, to go out on this note, but he did say to me yesterday, no matter who won, he just wanted them to go into Super League.
Well, at the start of the year, he'd been very proud if someone said you're going to be in the grand final, you know, and he'd be very proud of his players. Don't forget, they're only a newly formed club from the defunct former Oldham Bears. He's done a tremendous job there, Mike, and I see him after the game, get him in a group, and I'd say what he said is, maybe we've got to lose one to win one. Let's back up next year and take away this disappointment, and they'll come back very eager next year.
I'm sure his little boy there will console him. You always feel for losers. Jason Clegg there, but Chris Hamilton, the chairman of Oldham. Oldham have done their best today. They had a late rally which produced a couple of tries for them there. Mannion going through, Kevin Mannion, who got one of them. But there can only be one winner, and today's winners are the Widnes Vikings. And listen to the roar now as the Widnes players come up to receive their commemorative medals. Phil Cantillon also received £200 as the man of the match. Simon Knox there, it's a great moment for him, and Martin Crompton, the captain of Widnes, following in famous footsteps. Widnes had great captains over the years, the likes of Kurt Sorensen, but Martin Crompton is the man ahead of Phil Cantillon, who comes forward now to receive the Northern Ford Premiership Trophy. And what a great, great day this is for a great, great club with a wonderful history. The cup belongs to Widnes. And are they on their way into Super League? Those fans remember golden moments under Dougie Lawton. Is Neil Kelly taking them back to more glory?
Well, they're a successful club with a lot comp they've been in. You know, I mean, they're used to winning trophies, and they're winning another one today. And you know, I know I've been in a situation there where you go up and receive stuff like that, and it's one of the highlights of your career. It's a special moment. Memories made there. It's now up to the administrators to sort out the Super League thing. But I'm sure, you know, I mean, they will have the qualifications to go up, and they will go up.
Richard Agar just went through your picture as a winner for a second consecutive year. And Joe Famalo, what a day it will be for Sean Richardson as well, playing in his 4th final in a row. Marvellous scenes for them.
I think it's an important occasion for the Viking committee and the directors and all that. They've made some astute decisions with their ground. They've also made an astute decision to sack their coach during the season and put a new coach in. And since then, they've had a tremendous winning run. So it's a great time, not only for the players, but the fans who will support them over a period of time, but also the board who have probably backed them financially and with some probably correct decisions which have been proven today.
Some very experienced players there, but the man who has taken Widnes to victory is, of course, Neil Kelly, and we can now have a word with him.
Neil Kelly, many congratulations. Does it get any better the second year on?
No, it's just as good the same time around. It's really pleasing, and maybe even a little bit more so now that we've run it back to back and we've done it with 2 different clubs.
In the end, it became quite comfortable, didn't it?
Well, I wouldn't say so. A couple of late sides from Oldham just made it a little bit uneasy, but nice to think we could relax for that last 10 minutes.
Super League, here you come.
Well, we've always said we want to win the trophy and then put it over to somebody else to get us there off the field. We've done our part, hopefully other people can do theirs, and we'll get a place in Super League.
And assuming you do get into Super League, will most of these fellas get a chance?
Well, we've got to do. I don't think we've got pots of money, and obviously you've got to work with what you've got. We don't be kids ourselves that you can go up there and not fetch your people in. But for tonight, we're just going to enjoy the fact we've won the game and hopefully concentrate on that later.
I think you're going to enjoy it. The fans have been terrific. They're going to enjoy it as well, aren't they?
I'm sure they will.
Neil, thanks so much.
Thanks a lot.
Well, tremendous scenes there, Peter Rowe, and you've got to say that Widnes deserved it, didn't they?
Yeah, they did in the end. They played more pressure, they played smarter football in the second half, they controlled the ball better, and from then on, Oldham were playing catch-up football, and it became very difficult for them.
Where for you did Widnes win it, Paul?
The individual players, again, Canterlon, Crompton, those standout players, the triangle players, and the big go forward men really caused some damage up through the middle in that second half, and Oldham felt the full brunt of it.
Yet again, of course, Peter, Rochdale did come back, but it's just too little too late.
Yeah, Oldham came out at the end, they showed lots of spirit. Mike Ford instrumental in most things, scoring himself and making the last try. He's gone out on a bit of a low personally, but he'll now concentrate on coaching away from playing, and it'll be, one more thing on the learning curve for him.
It is a sad end, isn't it, for Mike Ford, Paul?
Yeah, it is, but he's been a great servant to the game, as I stated before, and he's done really well to get Oldham where they are now, and he deserves every accolade, and he's had an outstanding finish to his career, and I wish him all the best in coaching in the future.
He's an English coach as well, Paul.
Yeah, he's a great coach, and there's some great English coaches on the way through, and I think Mike's one of them. Will take a lot of clubs forward, and Mike will have every intention of taking Oldham through into Super League 2.
OK, well, we can now go down to our pitch-side reporter again, Chris Cooper.
Thanks, John. Joined by Tommy Hodgkinson. Tommy, did days get much better than this?
No, mate, I've waited a long time for this. It's first major final I've been in. I'm coming towards the end of my career, so I'm going to enjoy it.
We talk about youth, but you've got that little bit of experience, haven't you?
Yeah, I've been around a bit. I've been to a few clubs, but like you say, I've waited a long time for this, so I'm going to enjoy it.
Do you think it's fair to say the key was just before half-time, they spilled them almost on your line, you went down the other end and scored?
Yeah, probably was a key factor, but we kept getting good field position in their half, and we wasn't controlling the ball. Once we did get a foothold on them, we had them in like I say, in their own quarter, and we kept going up with unforced errors then. And once we started controlling the ball, we killed them off then. But give them the credit, they did come back.
Finally, you fancy another crack at Super League?
Oh, well, why not? I think there's a bit more left in the engine yet.
Fingers crossed. Best of luck, well done.
Cheers, thanks a lot.
For the game in the Northern Four Premiership.
Yeah, the fans have embraced it. I mean, everyone was tipping Leah Widnes and Leah Widnes are the two teams that bring more supporters, but the Oldham contingent today have been absolutely marvellous. They've got behind their side. We know that Widnes are well supported. It's been a great day for rugby league, and more of them to come, I hope.
How jealous are you, Paul, of what's going on out there now?
Immensely. You give everything to win today. The league club wanted everything to win today, but Widnes have been the most consistent side throughout the semi-finals, and they deserve their grand final win today, and it was shown throughout a totally committed side throughout 80 minutes.
And do they deserve, Peter, as well, a place in Super League?
I think they've got to deserve it. I mean, they've planned for it, they've put finances into it, they've got a great stadium, and everything's in place, I feel. And if the Rugby League fail to admit them to Super League, then I think it's a nail in the coffin for us.
Would Widnes actually be able to compete, do you think, Paul?
Not the first year, maybe the second year. Again, it's financial. If you're able to get the bigger players into your club, whilst you've got some great players there already, you know, they need an influx of some outside players, and it all comes back to money.
And they look to have an outstanding young coach in Neil Kelly.
Yeah, again, Neil's been back financially, and any coach needs financial backing. It's whether he'll be given the finances to take the club any further when he gets into Super League, because certainly this side they've got now won't be good enough to keep them in Super League next season. But I'm sure that if they get the News Corporation money and they can buy some more higher profile players, then they'll be able to exist competitively in that division.
We are, of course, talking about Super League, an awful lot about Super League.